But the country was built by the original European settlers. They are the ones who established the economic and political and moral foundations for a strong, prosperous, and decent nation. And then this is me tweeting, we are all living off the fruits of their labor.
What's going on, everyone? Stocks Weekend here today. We're reacting to a video from Dinesh D'Souza. I said it right this time. Last time I said D'Souza, and you guys gave me hell last time. But I said it right this time. He's going to be going over who built America. And let's get into the video because this is an interesting one.
America was built on slavery. This has become a standard trope of critical race theory. It is something that is taught in our schools. It is something that has now surfaced on a Disney show called The Proud Family.
Oh my God. I used to love The Proud Family when I was growing up. And it's sad to say that I can't let my son watch that show because it says stuff that I don't agree with. Right? I already know. Look, I'm gonna keep beating this until it's dead in the water. Critical race theory is bad mentally for any kid that's exposed to it. Bruh. I already told you what it does to black kids, white kids. It lowers self-esteem. It creates greater forms of depression. Here is negatives coming from CRT, but they want to keep pushing this propaganda, and there's the reason why it's called critical race theory for a reason. And in the day, no one's powerless because of their race. Seems like all the left care about is having conformity. They want everyone to think the same way. Well, I can't do that.
It's a kind of a cartoon show, and but weaved into it are themes of slavery and reparations. And I want to just quote a line or two. This country was built on slavery, which means slaves built this country. It goes on to talk about why that creates a foundation, a moral foundation for reparations. Now, this may seem like inarguable, which is to say self-evident.
It's not. That's not inarguable. That's an objection from me. Objection! Because at the end of the day, slaves didn't found this country. Right? They want to say, it was founded in 1619 before the slaves even came over to United States, and then they're going to say, the slaves built this country. In that case, slaves built every country in the world because every country was complicit in slavery because it was a human sin. It's not just an American thing. But hey, let's let Dinesh say it because I don't know anything. You know, I'm learning as much as you guys are too.
I want to argue that's one of those things that we tend to take for granted so much that it takes a little bit of thought and scrutiny to realize that it's not true. What is not true? This country was not built on slavery, and slaves didn't build it. And think of how if what I said is true, it blows the foundation for reparations right out of the water. The premise itself is false. But how can it be false? Didn't slaves, at least some would say, well, they certainly helped to build this country, didn't they? And I would say, in a sense, no. And the reason I say no is because it's not that the slaves didn't do any building. Slaves, of course, there was some slavery in the North also before the American founding. Most of slavery was either abolished or on its way to being abolished in the era of the American founding. And then slavery became more regional. It was in the South, mainly plantation slavery, small and large plantations. Okay, so the slaves built the plantations. But what happened to the plantations in the Civil War? They were destroyed. They were leveled to the ground. Sherman burned Atlanta. So at the end of the Civil War, what was left in the South was very little.
And this is why, he made a good point here, because this is why a lot of studies, they found that all the slave states, all the states that are known to have like a big proponent of its production from slavery, they're the poorest states in the Union today. Right? So it destroys this concept of, white people had 100 years head start than us. Nope. Most white people have no ties to slavery. Most white people in this country are immigrants. So this argument that, white people had a head start, this country was built on institutions of slavery and all this, like, no. Because the northern states were always free states, for the most part. It was on their way out. It was the North and the South for a reason, right? And then what he just mentioned here, they just, like during the Civil War, a lot of those things got destroyed. That's why none of the wealth lasted in the South. But y'all want to sit here and say, when you have 100 years head start, that challenges that argument. But hey, I digress. Let's get back into the video.
Just land. Agriculture. The South had to sort of rebuild its way out of, a kind of rubble. So what the slaves built was destroyed during the Civil War. And the idea
Makes
that
sense.
America today,
So that makes sense why all the all the regions that were known to have slave ownership are the poorest state in the union today, right? There is no generational wealth that came from slavery because it was destroyed during the Civil War when you guys were getting when slaves were being like when black people were being free essentially. And then these same people want to reimagine, and then they want to claim conservatives are reimagining history. No, it seems like the liberals are.
Bruh.
I just want to hear a good counter argument to what Dinesh is saying, because to me it lines up with what I did some research on. I was like, oh, the poorest states in the union are previously slave states. So where's this generational wealth coming from? Nowhere, apparently.
is somehow built by slavery is, I think, nonsensical. Now, it's tempting for people to go from there to say, well, all right, but what about the immigrants, Dinesh? Didn't the immigrants build America? No, they didn't either. Now, I'm not.
Yeah, like yesterday, I just finished having some guy just call me out saying, "Oh, you're a black immigrant. You didn't contribute nothing to this country, right?"
Bruh.
But then they want to say, "Oh, nations of immigrants," right? They want it both ways, bro. Either we contributed it to America or we didn't. Y'all got to pick one.
It doesn't make sense.
Because I can't keep coming here and saying, "Oh, we didn't build nothing in this country," and then when I point out that, hey, most black people didn't seem to contribute anything to America either. 60% of Americans don't contribute anything to the tax system. Majority of the black community, not majority, a huge percentage of the black community, I think it's like 36%, highest percentage rate in between any racial group, are on welfare. The poorest community, the poorest race of people in America as well. Parents were immigrants, came here, and all they had to do was find a job, get some skills, and they were already in the same economic level as most blacks in America.
I'm not saying that the immigrants, again, didn't do anything, they didn't work, but the country was built by the original European settlers. They are the ones who established the economic and political and moral foundations for a strong, prosperous, and decent nation. And then this is me tweeting, we are all living off the fruits of their labor.
Yeah. Including the so-called ADOS people who are trying to sit here and saying, oh, the only reason you black immigrants can come over here to this country is because we fought for our rights for this country. Okay, bro. So you didn't earn those rights either. They fought for your rights too. They fought for the future of black community. Yeah, this is why I said there's no real unity in black America. Because even now, even today, they still have this little division of, descendant of slaves, non-descendant of slaves. Okay, but my argument is, how you know you're a descendant of slaves? Do you have your family tree somewhere? Most of you guys is a
Nope.
And what about the black people that mix? What about the you people who mix with Jamaican, Trinidadian, Haitian? What about them people? This is why reparations is used as a carrot on a stick. Because for the most part, when they audit America, they're gonna realize, damn, a lot of you guys ain't who y'all think y'all are. And when that guy, bruh, it's gonna be a day. It's gonna be a reckoning, and I'm here for it.
Now, I knew when I said this, it would sort of set off a little bit of a social media stir, and sure enough, I get all kinds of comebacks, and one of these comebacks is, well, Dinesh, the settlers are the same as immigrants. You're talking about settlers, but didn't the settlers come from another country? Doesn't this make them immigrants? No. Settlers are not the same as immigrants. There's a real difference between a settler and an immigrant. I put it this way.
Yeah, immigrants come to something that's already established. Settlers come to unsettled land, nothing's here, and they create it from the ground up, right? That's the primary difference that I see. But let's see what Dinesh goes with this.
The settler is the guy who shows up and builds the country.
Yep.
He's the first guy to actually create the recipe for a society. Now, if it happens to be a good society, good recipe, good society, then immigrants will leave their own country and move voluntarily to the better country that the settlers have created.
Yep.
In other words, immigrants move to already existing established societies because they like the way that society is run or organized.
Hey, that happened with my parents. They say, hey, this America is the best opportunity to have our family, right? My parents met here in the United States, and then I was born, and here I am talking to you guys over the internet, right? And this is my main problem, because they'll like these multi-generational Black Americans, because now they cast me away, right? Even though I was born here, but oh well, I'm not considered part of it. Whatever, I'm American. F it. I don't care about being a Black American. I'm American. I have disadvantages. I'm supposed to have disadvantages coming in this country, but no. My parents say, yo, this is the best part. You better take advantage of these opportunities, because I don't have excuses like these so-called ADOS people have. When they fail in life, they can tell their parents, oh, it's because of racism, mom, and the mom will buy it. My parents, they won't buy it.
Nope.
They're gonna look at me like, you squandered a good opportunity. This is the best place we put you. We set you up to do great things here, and you squandered it, Kenny. That's the kind of pressure I had. I ain't had no excuse to say, oh, mom, the white man was on my neck. That's why I couldn't become an engineer, doctor like you wanted me to. My mom would look at me like,
Nope.
what are you talking about, bro? Hey, man. This is why I said it's culture. Because I was raised with a different culture. I have a different outlook on America, on life in general. And why would why would I submit my culture to the Black American culture when it's proven to produce uncompetitive results compared to the other groups of people? Asians are outperforming everybody. White people are kind of in the middle. Latinas are on their way out. The Latina community, they're on their way up, about to overtake the Black community. And the Black community's been here longer than the Latino community, but y'all like neck and neck. Like, I don't understand. But people in my detractors in the comment section will brag about the fact that, oh, we're the reason why y'all here. No, it's not. We're here for America, not for you. And how I look at it, I'm gonna show you what y'all was supposed to do. Because in my generation, my kid's gonna have more advantages than I had growing up. That's my duty as a parent. I don't care what y'all what excuses y'all have, whatever. I don't blame nothing on racism. If my kid can't, oh, dad, when I'm not in private school, oh, I'm sorry, son, I didn't make enough money to put you through private school. I didn't make enough money or resources to set you up to give you a good advantage. I ain't gonna blame no racism. I walk it how I talk it. And we'll see where it takes me. We'll see where it leads me and my family. But hey, I digress. Let's continue.
But who organized it? Not the immigrant, the settler. And this is why the countless immigrants who have come to America over the generations, me included, all of us owe a great debt to the Pilgrims and to the original settlers. They are the ones, more than anyone else, more than the immigrants, more than the slaves.
Yep.
They are the ones who really built America.
Yeah, because, the slaves wouldn't be, without the settlers, the slave owners wouldn't be able to buy you slaves from Africa who actually enslaved y'all. Because by the time the settlers got to y'all was already slaves by your own people. This is what I'm talking about. Slavery was like a common thing. It was like, oh, this is just the way it is. That's how most people accepted it. Oh, it was just a way of life. Look through our history. Any country you go to, people were indentured servants. Yo, come on. But when people want to act like they want to put blinders on and act like America was the source of all evil. But hey, I digress, man.
Now, once I establish propositions that are hard to argue against, I get quibbles. And here's a quibble that comes from somebody on social media. Hey, Dinesh, care to weigh in on the assertion that European settlers weren't immigrants? I'm sure lots of First Nation leaders, meaning Native Americans, would have a different interpretation of history. Mm-hmm. And here I make the point that being here first doesn't mean anything. I mean, does the first Bedouin who arrives at an oasis own the oasis? No. European settlers are the ones who developed this country. They built towns and cities.
It's the concept of human capital, right? This I forgot where it was. I don't know. I think it was Zimbabwe, right? A bunch of white people took over the place. They created businesses. They did all type of industry in Zimbabwe. And Zimbabwe was like, nah, we're taking over everything. They kicked out all the white people and they took over all the industries. And then the Zimbabwe people realized, damn, we don't have the engineers. We don't have enough doctors to actually keep all this stuff running. And it plummeted down. They become poor, even though they were able to extract all the resources from the white people that were living in Zimbabwe. Human capital is a thing. So if those humans never came to that country in the first place, your country would, that area would never be as developed as it was prior. And a day, there's no correlation with resources and wealth. It's always about knowledge, how the wealth is used, how the resources are used determine more wealth than having access to those resources. If the people in the country don't have the knowledge to utilize those resources properly, it's just wasted. It's just waste.
Bruh.
It's like having so much talent, but you don't know how to actually use the talent. And that's the point that I think Dinesh is making here with the Indians. And the Indians were here first, but they didn't create America. America was founded once those settlers came here. If those settlers never came here, America would never have existed.
Bruh.
But hey, let's continue.
They established the nation on a political and economic foundation. They created this widespread opportunity and this widespread prosperity. I think I speak for immigrants here. We didn't come to the America the Native Americans created. Exactly. If the Native Americans had continued to run the show, I would still be back in India. Probably, the reason that immigrants like me came to America is to be part of the country that the original settlers created here. That's the America that we're grateful for.
Facts. Hey, look, I agree with everything he just said. Like that's the reason my parents came here. My parents didn't come here for no Native American. Like, nah. No, my mom didn't want to go to no huts. Like, come on. And it goes back to the human capital point. If those settlers never came, America would never have existed. And we'll never have all this access, all these innovations, all these events that are happening. It all came from decisions made by that particular people. And sure, we can judge them now with presentism, right? In the present, in 2023, we can use the lens of morality that we developed in this time of age and judge them for what they did in the past. But if you were born in that moment, you wouldn't be judging them. You would have been like, oh yeah, slavery is normal. Yeah, that's what we do. The strong enslaves the weak. But we want to judge things based on the present, not based on the context of the time. And that's my biggest problem. Like, people want to be on their moral high ground, but you don't know if you're moral. You don't know what you're really made of until you're put in those situations, until you put in that situation. Everyone think, oh, you don't want to make me angry. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Mike Tyson. But hey, I digress. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Agree, disagree. Let me know your thoughts. I'll be welcome to hear it. Thanks for watching to the end of the video. I really do appreciate it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.